Hey everyone, Tom Seymour from VHS Massacre. I'm going to be making a different type of video, although it does fall into the realm of independent filmmaking and things to watch out for. We're sort of entering a new realm. So basically with VHS Massacre films, when I put out a film, I absolutely will Google that film and see where it's gotten around. We got into some bigger festivals, like San Francisco Indie Fest, another hole in the head, and Film Anthology Archives, New Filmmakers, New York. And so to some degree, I noticed my name was being talked about a little more, and I'm like, okay, let me look up an American Expendables doc. You know, you want to see how your movie's doing, right? But I wanted to see if there were any reviews out. And in general, I stopped going after reviews because it took me a long time to realize that, well, like if someone makes that discovery, they come across your movie and they review it, there's a better chance that they'll like it than you trying to push your movie on someone else. It's better to go ahead and get that publicity through the film festival circuit, because it doesn't matter if you don't get into 10 festivals, but you get into one, you only have to talk about the one you got into. So it's just it's a better game. Okay, so long story short, I was Googling a review for my latest documentary, American Expendables, about direct-to-video action stars. So I Googled it. This line, and by the way, I'm used to getting bad reviews. It's not a big deal. But I did want to know where this review was from. So it said, however, some of the reviews mentioned that the film lacks substantial narrative depth and relies heavily on archival footage, integrating fresh action content and detailed story. You could find reviews and discussions, All Movies, Movie Phone, and IMDb. Okay, so I was like, no problem. I was like, I want to read the review because it doesn't sound all bad. Maybe there's a good quote in there I can pull. And so I look into this. Movie Phone has no reviews at the time of this. No reviews, no comments. All Movie has no reviews, no comments. So I asked Google, I was like, where is this from? Some reviews mentioned lack of substantial narrative depth and relies heavily on archive. By the way, it does rely heavily on archival footage. And rather than integrating fresh action content or detailed storytelling. So I was looking around for this. Couldn't find it. This is where it starts to get weird. The review you describe seems to encapsulate common themes for documentaries like American Expendables, which focus on niche entertainment history. If you're asking where this particular review comes from, it sounds like it could be a synthesis of audience and critic impressions, possibly from source like Rotten Tomatoes Letterboxd. If you liked, I can search more from review. Okay, now Chat GPT can't find the review, so it's saying, well, it could be a synthesis of user reviews, but there are no current user reviews like this, not in the sources they list, not in any other sources. It does not exist in this way. Here's another one. This is talking about the Google search, yeah. Might reflect a general opinion in discussing similar documentaries or AI generated extrapolation based upon typical reviews. So I questioned the fact that there are no user comments or reviews like that. No one's saying that, right? So then it pivots to, you're right. There are no specific reviews on the sites like All Movie and Movie Phone. That's literally what Google listed as saying where it got this review from. And then when you're saying, well, there is no review on either of those sites, then ChatGPT is going, well, maybe it's the user comments. You're saying, no, there are no user comments. So now this is where we get the real answer. It could also be a speculation or reflective of AI-generated assumptions based upon patterns in reviews of similar films. If you like, I can dig further. blah, blah, blah. This is Chat GPT analyzing the Google response. Okay, so before I read this last slide, let's summarize. I was looking for reviews of my film American Expendables. Google brought up a review. Google generated an answer and brought up a review in which it criticized a few elements of the documentary. It did I think it was mild praise as well, so I don't want to delve in the negative. And I'm like, no problem. just I want to read the review. I've had reviews like that are like 50-50 or, it's no problem. But basically what it drills down to is Google generated a review. Google generated an entire review using AI with no sources. The sources it listed, Movie Phone and All Movies, had no user reviews, had no professional reviews, had nothing. So Google reviewed my film based upon other films that are similar to it that may have been put out on the market, and made assumptions based upon that. Now, that being said, it absolutely does rely heavily on archival footage. So I really can't dispute that. And then the concept of saying it lacks narrative depth, truth is, you could argue that case, because it is based upon the actual, it's based upon more the industry, the video store and direct-to-video industry, when they were making martial arts action films, and it's a delve into that. So it's not really a narrative-based film. It's more of like a bit of a deep dive into the industry at that time and things like that. So, the weirdest part is you could argue that, the AI is not wildly inaccurate. The problem is it's using surrounding movies to make assumptions. It's not using my actual movie, unless you're supposed to think that Google AI went through and watched my movie on Tubi or something. And I don't think it does that. So I don't think we're there yet. But I would say the biggest problem that I have with this kind of thing is that, look, you and I as independent filmmakers, we do our best. We put feature films together for nothing, essentially nothing. This one was really, I think I put, I'm trying to think, I don't think I put a penny into, no, I think to do the deliverables, I think I spent, $100 maybe, something like that. So this really is a no budget, film, feature length documentary. And, so that's what we can do. We fight the good fight. We make independent films, and we try to distinguish ourselves from studio films or Hollywood films. The problem is when AI is generating reviews based upon your work. The problem is AI is not generating a review based upon my work. My work, it doesn't know anything about. It's basing its review on my work from other reviews, professional reviews, user reviews of other documentaries that were similar to this. And it's just kind of copy and paste over onto my project. Now, I've dealt with being judged pretty harshly with some films in the past. The VHS Massacre films are by far my most successful things. You could argue it even pushes into the mainstream. And so I'm very happy about that. But some of my older work, New York, you had single people at the New York Times, like one of my films, Everything Moves Alone. They hit that one particularly harsh. They said it was unfortunate backwash, so other unfortunate backwash of other notable filmmakers like Wes Anderson from like Bottle Rocket, or like Kevin Smith's Corks, which definitely stung, a little bit. But the point is, there was gatekeeping. It was human gatekeeping, and it was cruel at times. But if you were a filmmaker, you just had to take it. You had to get used to it. And typically what I would do is I'd try to learn from it and improve. And like 20 years later, apparently I did. I got better. I found out more that documentary was more my niche, But now this newest wave of criticism is potentially AI criticism. And it's just not something I can compete with. Who am I going to argue against? Who am I going to write? Am I going to write Google and say, you guys are, whatever hundreds of dollars my documentary could generate, it doesn't help if your Google artificial intelligence is writing bad reviews of my movie. So it's not, I'm not taking this too seriously. You have to think about it, like how many people are actually looking for American Expendables reviews. But if this pops up, let's say when someone wants to go and look at it, they might not see the very, Amazon right now at least has a very positive, like I think it's 5 out of 5 stars on Amazon, which that will go down. That's just how it is. Over time, it will creep down. But and it's gotten to, it's won 7 awards at this point. But yeah, it's just something that is I didn't expect for filmmakers to get caught up quite in this way into the whole the AI generation thing. I'm not against artificial intelligence at all. I've used artificial intelligence in Photoshop to do to extend the frames of photos and stuff like that. So, and other uses as well. So some of it, I think it's pretty. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. It's another tool. In the future, you may have to really seek out trusted sites, and trusted people. I'm trying to think for movie criticism. Film Threat used to be a go-to. Ain't It Cool actually wasn't bad back in the day. American Expendables is a documentary that I made thinking that hopefully I could get onto Tubi with it. It wasn't sort of this high-aiming documentary like the VHS Massacre documentaries, which I spent years on and really put myself into. And I felt we're really trying to say something. American Expendables was more of just sort of supposed to be an entertaining deep dive into these martial arts films and in the affection that that we all had for them. So that's where that came from. So I don't take this one as seriously, though I'm really glad I finished it, and I'm glad I put it out. It did have the project died a few years ago and then was rekindled, and I was able to make a go of it. So I am actually really proud of it. So yeah, I don't have to say. I think maybe this is a good sign. Google has been scaling back on AI-generated responses and search results, including Google Now, due to concerns about accuracy and the potential misinformation, which led to user backlash after feature produced several incorrect and nonsensical answers in certain situations. Essentially, Google is trying to refine its AI technology before fully integrating it into everyday results. I have to say, if I need a response to, let's say I'm trying to help someone with like Unreal Engine or Blender, something where I know the software to some degree, but I'm not like, I'm more familiar with the Creative Cloud and stuff like that. Google has been really helpful in the last, I'd say, 2 years in regard to getting quick responses and pulling them. But a lot of people say that the answers come from that kind of stuff comes from what was I saying, Reddit. I think a lot of the stuff's getting pulled from there anyway. So, so it had some efficiency back then. But I mean, it's definitely not all bad. At times it's super useful. But recently I was Googling how much the DVD Blue industry market is worth. Is it still $1 billion market? And this was maybe a week or two ago. And the responses, every time I generated a response, was just wildly different. One was like, no, DVDs and Blu-rays are no longer $1 billion business. Next one, the market's worth $25 billion. Next one, the market's worth $3 to $5 billion. It really couldn't pull an accurate answer. The sources don't add up. It doesn't say that, So it's kind of like reading a bad book report with faulty sources from a high school student or something. That's kind of what Google AI is doing right now. So maybe it'll get worse, maybe it'll get better. It shouldn't stop you from filmmaking. Just beware of this and don't take it too seriously. Reviews can definitely help. They can get the word out. But it's debatable how much they help. It's really up to you to do your own promotion, to do your own PR. And when you put a film out, if you're doing a festival, to try to get people in the seats and stuff like that. So it's really up to you. So you shouldn't let bad reviews stop you, and you shouldn't let fake bad reviews stop you. Keep going. And there are places as an independent filmmaker, low-budget filmmaker, where you can get your film out there. Prime, Tubi, Filmzy, MVD does a great job with that. Fandango, a bunch of other ones. So, look, you may not get on Netflix, but Netflix isn't that cool these days anyway. So, yeah. Keep creating and hang in there.